Like you, I love love feasts. I love the solid singing and the dieners pouring out of the east door 2 by 2 in a sedate dance, laden with first sweet buns and then warm coffee, and the clanking of the empty cups collected. It's what you have instead of the Sanctus bell of the Mass that says, heads up, something wonderful and special is happening here. Moravians are famous for all of that, and rightly so. Love feasts are a gift to the wider church, a tradition that says to everyone who comes in these doors, God welcomes all to the feast, blessed be God, and blessed be you. Tomorrow, though, many of you will take part in another tradition, one that I was only vaguely aware of before I came here, and one that many non-Moravians who know the love feast do not know, and that is the scrubbing and flowering of the graves in God's acre. Last year I wandered over to see what was up, to find an explosion of color and music and movement as scores of people moved among the graves, kneeling next to them to scrub them white, then decorating them with spring blooms, all with the band playing hymns in the background. When I saw that wonderful sight for the first time, I remembered my first Easter in a country church in Lincoln County more than 30 years ago. Early on Easter Sunday morning, 40 or so members of that little country church I served gathered in the church's cemetery for the sunrise service. The cemetery was a good half-mile from the church, sitting on a little rise in the middle of a pasture, newly mown. Beth and I had thought we would do something different that year, with the enthusiasm of pastors right out of seminary. So the night before, we gathered in the dining room of the parsonage with a couple of neighbor children. And we sat at the table and we cut out crepe paper butterflies of blue and pink and purple and yellow. And we stacked and tacked several different colors on top of each other onto the top of a pointed stick. And we made 100 or more and put them in 5-gallon pickle buckets. Now, on Easter morning, with the sun beginning to rise over the trees at the edge of the pasture, we stood in the cemetery with the pickle buckets at our feet, and we proclaimed the Easter message, He is risen, the Lord is risen indeed. And with that, those 40 members took those butterfly sticks and began to place them at the gravestones. Of course, they knew most of the names there, mostly parents and grandparents. Some were spouses, even a few graves of children of people who were there. The young children ran through the seminary like it was a stone playground, placing the butterflies with a joyful abandon. Sometimes a family would gather, carefully placing those butterflies at a parent's grave and pause for a quiet moment. Their Sunday shoes were quickly wet with fresh cut grass sticking to them. For 10 or 15 minutes, the sunrise liturgy included laughing and talking and some tears. I see that same spirit on the great Sabbath in God's acre. As you attend to graves with care and respect, washing and decorating graves even of family and friends, you do so with a few tears, but also with much joy and laughter. Children run and play. Adults work with both purpose and joy. Last year, people took me to this grave and that one to tell me stories about family members long gone. It's a marvelous place to be between Good Friday and Easter Sunday. But you know, I don't think it was the same for Jesus' friends and family the day after his crucifixion, on that same Saturday that many of you spend among the graves of loved ones. For them, death and Rome had won. Jesus, their teacher, their friend, brother, son, was gone. That was it. It was over. They could hope for nothing else than to go at the next sunrise to fulfill the obligation to attend to Jesus' lifeless body. Their imagination died with Jesus. I expect there was no laughter on that Saturday. For them, the day before, death had the last word, and it was still ringing in their ears. I think many of us know a little of what that feels like, especially if we have been to funerals where those who were attending were not, how do we put it, active Christians. Sometimes at those funerals that I have attended, there's sometimes an awkward silence, or there's an anger that doesn't know where to go, or even a kind of fake joviality that tries to cover up fear and discomfort. And most of all, there is this feeling of, let's get this over with. We'd rather be anywhere else but here with this dead body. Now, maybe we can imagine what it was like to mourn the loss of Jesus before he rose. Maybe we can contemplate the despair and anger and grief. But even here on Good Friday, the day of his crucifixion, we do live on the other side of the resurrection, and there is no going back. Because of the empty tomb on Sunday, we can laugh among the graves on Saturday, even among the graves of those whom we loved. We can grieve and we can be sad too, but we do not despair. We are not hopeless. Jesus' death and resurrection really has taken away the sting of death. You have the opportunity to live your life like it was Saturday in God's acre. To be joyful when others are grim, to be hopeful when others are in despair, and to reach out when others are building up walls of fear. So, thank you to those who perhaps unknowingly will bear witness to your faith tomorrow in the cemetery. In a world in which death often rules, laughing and playing among the graves is a powerful yes to life in Jesus Christ. Amen.